All right, what's up? Brent here from LearnJazzStandards.com, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about 10 master jazz standards that every jazz musician needs to know. You know, when it comes to becoming a better jazz improviser, a better jazz musician in general, we have to be learning jazz standards because jazz standards are the vehicles in which jazz musicians use to improvise. If we want to go to jam sessions, if we want to play at gigs, even if we want to improve in the practice room, we have to be working on jazz standards. And like one of my favorite jazz musicians, jazz guitarist Peter Bernstein, once said to me, let the tunes teach you how to play, because within the tunes is all the music theory, all the improv lessons, all the different harmonic and rhythmic elements that you need to learn how to navigate as a jazz musician. So I believe that if we hone in on just several or a couple jazz standards and really get inside of those, we can actually learn how to play hundreds of more standards and understand how to play them better, learn them easier if we just hone in on a few. And so that's why I'm giving out today my 10 master jazz standards, the ones that I think you should all study and get inside of those, and in return, it's going to be so much easier to play all the rest of them. Okay, here we go. All right, number one, Autumn Leaves. Autumn Leaves is a classic jazz standard. Everybody has to know this one, and I always like to start my students on this one because it teaches us some very important lessons. And not only that, if you want to play at a jazz jam session or a gig, it's likely going to be called, so it's important to know. Now, the two lessons that are really important is the study in relative keys. So you have the relative major key and the relative minor key. And also on top of that, it's the great study of 2-5-1 chord progressions, both in a minor key and both in a major key. And 2-5-1 chord progressions are by far the most important chord progression that you need to work on in jazz because they'll come up time and time again. So number one is Autumn Leaves. Make sure you know that one. Now number two is All the Things You Are. Now All the Things You Are, it's one of my personal favorite jazz standards. I love playing it in a multitude of different ways, in different settings, in different bands, different groups and feels. It's a lot of fun to play. And one of the greatest lessons it can teach us is the cycling of fourths with chord progressions. It starts on a concert F minor, which is the sixth chord of the key center, which is concert A flat major, and it cycles in fourths throughout the tune. Not only that, it travels through a bunch of different key centers, which is a great practice for navigating those kind of tricky passages and tricky key center transitions. But definitely the main takeaway there is it's a great study in cycling chords in fourths, which comes up time and time again in jazz repertoire. All right, now jazz standard number three is So What by Miles Davis. It can be heard on his classic album Kind of Blue. It's that really important record that everybody needs to check out. And the reason I have So What on my master standards list is because it is a great introductory into modal harmony. Now modal harmony, that means that it's not tied down and it's not related to functional harmony with a key center. It's more based on the modes like Dorian, Phrygian, Locrian, all this stuff. So in the case of So What, it's starting in D Dorian and then eventually goes to E flat Dorian, and that's kind of how you improvise, is off of the modes, and it's a different kind of harmony, different kind of function. And So What is a great introduction tune into modal harmony. All right, number four is Blue Bossa by Kenny Dorham. Now this is a great tune because I kind of consider it a little bit of an entry level tune. The melody's really simple, melody's really nice. It's just a simple 16 bar form, and it's also a good introduction into bossa novas. And it's not a true bossa nova like a composition by Antonio Carlos Jobim, but it's a great kind of way to get your feet wet into that realm, and it's a great way to start navigating minor keys as well. So Blue Bossa, must learn that song. And number five is It Could Happen to You. Now this song, it really covers a lot of diatonic functional harmony. 1-6-2-5-1 chord progressions, 2-5-1s, takes a trip into the relative minor. It really covers all the harmonic elements that you need to know. So that's why I highly suggest It Could Happen to You. So number five, It Could Happen to You. Now number six is Sweet Georgia Brown. Now, Sweet Georgia Brown is a really classic song. It was written back, like way back in the early jazz days. It was used in the swing era, gypsy jazz, and it's still used today, even in modern jazz scenes and on jam sessions. Now, the great study of this one that you should really pay attention to is cycling dominant seventh chords. It starts on an F, concert F7, goes to a B flat 7, to an E flat 7, into the key center, which is A flat major 7. And really being able to navigate these dominant seventh chords is really important. It will come out time and time again in other kinds of jazz songs, such as rhythm changes tunes. Now, number 7 is All of Me. Now, All of Me, I suggest learning this one because it's impossible to play at a gig or a jam session without knowing this song. It's so classic, it's so called upon. In fact, on our YouTube channel, of all the play-alongs that we have listed up there, it's one of the top viewed play-along videos for people to practice along with. So no matter what, you have to learn All of Me, and just for that reason, I have it in my master's list. Number 8 is On Green Dolphin Street. Now On Green Dolphin Street is a really unique song, has a lot of pedals in the first 8 bars, and so for that reason there's some unconventional harmony going on there that's great to study. But the main reason I think it's great to study this is that it's a great example of moving up a minor third to a new key center, and that happens in a lot of other jazz standards. So you want to be able to recognize that harmony when it happens, and that's what's going on Green Dolphin Street. Now, number 9, we're almost at the end here, is Stella by Starlight. Now, Stella by Starlight is an incredibly complex, harmonically speaking, tune, and a lot of beginners learn this song for some reason right away. And I think it's odd because it is so complex, but it has a beautiful melody. It's so common that you really do have to know it. And just by exploring this tune with its complex harmony and sometimes non-functioning harmony, it can really open up things for you and help you understand how everything works in music in general. So that's definitely one to learn. Number 9, Stella by Starlight. Now, last but not least, number 10 is Have You Met Miss Jones? Now, the reason I say Have You Met Miss Jones, it teaches us a couple different things. First, there's the passing diminished chord that happens in the first 4 bars. It's in concert F major, then it goes up to a F sharp diminished 7 to a 2 chord, the G minor 7. And that F sharp diminished 7 is actually a substitute for the dominant 6th chord. So instead of going a 1, 6, 2, 5, it goes 1, sharp 1 diminished, 2, 5. So it's a lesson there with the passing diminished chord. But also the bridge is incredibly complex. And in fact, the key centers are moving in thirds. And some say that John Coltrane actually got his inspiration for his Coltrane changes, like we hear in Giant Steps and Countdown, from the bridge of Have You Met Miss Jones. So that's a really important jazz standard to study. Okay, so that's my 10 master jazz standards. Now here's the question of the day that I want you to answer. What is your favorite jazz standard and why? Let me know in the comments below. Love to hear, love for everybody to share their thoughts. Now remember, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you like our page on Facebook. Make sure you join our newsletter, get our free jazz practicing guide by going to learnjazzstandards.com/join. All right, I'll see you in the next video.